Hi guys, happy Tuesday. It is spring break here in our county, so the kids are out and enjoying things. Teachers are getting some nice rest and relaxation. Hopefully cold and flu and COVID and all that kind of stuff is diving down so we can come back to a healthier week next week at school. So today I am going to get on a little bit of a soapbox, and this is a soapbox I've been on in the past. You may recognize it, but I'm going to try to give information that is helpful at the same time as trying not to be too much on my little box kind of thing. But I received this March 2025 edition of the Nurse Practitioner. It is a journal or a magazine that is sent out to everyone who belongs to the organization that I do that certifies my nurse practitioner license. And I noticed as soon as I got this is a special edition. It's the pediatric edition, and there were two articles of interest right off the bat to me. The first is type 2 diabetes in children and adolescents, and the second was the management of pediatric obesity in primary care. And the reason why that's super interesting to me, because that's the world that I live in. And you know, here in the US, obesity and diabetes, they're at epidemic levels, and they're not just affecting our adults, but they're affecting our children at some alarming rates. And many of us are quick, including in the healthcare industry, many of us are quick to blame genetics, but that's just not the case. It's not the truth. If I just look back at when I started practice 20 years ago, the rates of obesity in adults were much lower than where they are today. And diabetes was a rare thing. I had like a handful of patients when I first came out in practice that had diabetes. And now I have hundreds of patients with diabetes. And obesity, well, that's an unfair one for me to say that I have too many of, because I work in an obesity medicine practice for the most part. But every year since I started practice, I've just seen the rates grow and skyrocket. In children 20 years ago, type 2 diabetes was almost unheard of, and diabetes, it's just rampant now. And 20 years ago, obesity in children was at a much more lower rate. It was there, but it was nowhere near like what it is today. If these conditions were solely genetic, both would have been present at steady states or slowly, ever so slowly rising rates for a very long time. But the truth is, up until about 50 years ago, both of these conditions were rare. Obesity and diabetes were rare. In fact, they were seen as like gluttonous conditions and of the well-to-do. Think like your kings and your royalty, because they could stuff themselves. But I digress. The human genes simply cannot change that quickly. It takes many generations for a genetic condition or a genetic trait in the human body to change. Not just the 1 to 2 generations that we've seen this dramatic change in obesity and diabetes. What can change that quickly? Our environment, including the foods that we eat and how that environment impacts our genes. So it's called epigenetics. That's what can change that quickly. How the environment changes and the effects that they have on the genes, not the genes themselves. In other words, these conditions are not genetic. The genes may predispose to those conditions, but that's not what caused the condition. It is what we do with our genes and how we live that makes that condition become active. So back to this session, March 2025, of the Nurse Practitioner article. Both articles, the one on obesity and the one on diabetes, remember these are in children, did a great job at telling us clinicians how to screen for the conditions and how to diagnose these conditions, like what the criteria was for diagnosis. They both also clearly, first right off the bat, state that lifestyle intervention is the first course of action in both diabetes and in obesity. In the diabetes article, this section was, it was very short and very not specific. It just said the first course is lifestyle intervention. That's what we should do. Okay. And then it spent a great deal of time on what drugs to prescribe, how the drugs work, how they're dosed, what you should monitor for. Yeah, that session was like 2 pages, where the lifestyle was like 3 sentences kind of thing. In the obesity article, it did give a little bit more information, more detail on lifestyle intervention. It recommended calorie restriction. That's been the predominant recommendation in the US for as long as I can remember having recommendations. However, the sections on medications for obesity in children and surgical options in obesity for children down as low as age 6, way more detailed, more information spent on those. Guys, I find this sad. I do. You can go back a couple, like maybe 2 years ago on my videos and see my specific opinions on the American Academy of Pediatrics Obesity Guidelines. It's a very detailed video and I explained my opinions in detail, so go back and look at that. Basically, yes, lifestyle intervention is mentioned, but there's almost a clear bias towards medications and surgery for children down as low as age 6. These medicines are lifelong. Surgery it's not just as easy as having stitches, it's serious. There can be major, horrific complications that I've helped adults through after a bariatric surgery that I can't imagine having that for an additional 10, 20 years if you're giving it to a 6 to a 12-year-old. Nutritional status, there's just all kinds of complications. Let's just say it's serious. It's serious. But here's the truth of where we're at. For years, providers have been ill-equipped to offer intensive lifestyle modification. We're not taught it in school, and what we were taught was likely influenced by the food industry. In a typical practice, there's just not enough time to screen, diagnose, and treat with lifestyle intervention in a 10 to 15 minute office visit. It's just not there. And then you take it further and you look at reimbursement codes. A reimbursement code for a typical level 3 office visit, which is about a 15-minute office visit, is going to be hands down more than the reimbursement for a health coaching or health counseling visit that might take 30 to 60 or more minutes. So it just doesn't add up in a clinician's mind who's trying to keep a business open. I can have an office visit for 15 minutes and do something quick, or I can have this 20-hour long visit that's not going to reimburse me as much as that 15-minute long visit where I could do 4. The math just doesn't add up. So yes, we, including me in the past, have failed at helping children and adults make the changes that they need or these lifestyle modifications. Our solution in medicine has been to medicate and cut. It's faster, and for the short term, it's very effective, and everyone likes to see results, do you not? But due to our limited time and our limited knowledge, that's just where we are. It's just where we are. And after living in that practice environment for 20 years, the last 10 specifically in weight management, what I can tell you is this: medication and cutting almost always fail long term. 9.5 times out of 10, I would say, and these are Amanda estimates, but this is from my clinical experience watching patients go through this. Medications and cutting fail long term if there is not sustained lifestyle changes in nutrition, exercise, stress, and sleep that are going to help you keep that. I am not saying, please hear me, I'm not saying that medications and bariatric surgery cannot be a very useful tool. They can be. I have used them. I have recommended them for patients. But what I can tell you is if we don't get the lifestyle intervention part right, they will fail. They're going to be successful for a couple of years and then they're going to fail. So I don't want you to let unknowledgeable providers con you into thinking that you can just take the new weight loss shot, GLP-1 shot, eat a balanced diet, and easily stop these things when you get to your goal weight. It's simply just not true. I wish it was, but it's not. I wish there was a simple, easy solution to obesity and diabetes that is out there, but there's just, it's not going to be as easy as just taking a drug and hoping it goes away. As for our years and years of advising clients to eat this calorie-restricted diet, yes, I did it for years too. What I see now is low-calorie diets fail 8 times out of 10. So about 20% of the time they work long, and that may be kind of generous. This is long-term. Why do they fail long-term? Because they make you hungry. And being hungry, it's a very uncomfortable feeling. And it's just not sustainable long term. So long story short, these articles and their recommendations or their lack thereof at truly helping us get to people making changes in their life, they just disgust me. Providers and organizations have just convinced themselves that they are helping patients with this advice. And I guess in fairness, you are some, or you're at least delaying the complications of diabetes. But in the end, these recommendations, they remain part of the bigger problem, which is ignoring the root cause of obesity and diabetes and trying to medicate our way out of it. So what is the root cause? What's the root cause of diabetes and obesity? It is environmental. It's an environment full of processed foods that are high in sugar, high in refined carbohydrates, a lack of whole foods nutrition, toxic environments where there are chemicals and plastics, reduced activity from our electronically charged world, poor sleep quality, and poor connection with other humans. We need all of those things, but you can't medicate your way out of those things. You can change your way out of those things. But change is hard, is it not? Especially when the whole world is kind of stacked up against those changes and it's too easy to make the other choice. I no longer, and I haven't for a long time, but I don't want to be a provider where all I see is the dollar signs that comes from handing out medications. I want to be part of the solution, not part of the continued problem. So here's what I've decided to change. And yeah, I know I just started my practice and this change is coming this week, but this is what I've decided to change, specifically based off of these articles. If you are a parent who is obese, you need to lose weight, you may have or may not have diabetes, but if you have diabetes, you're welcome too. And you have a child under the age of 18 who is also obese and needs to make these changes, I have decided that if you decide to work with ClearPath Medical, I will see your child for 50% off. So I will see you and I will see your child at 50% off. You'll be working together on the same plan because children are not going to be successful without a strong partnership from their family. So that's why they're partnered together. But I will see you at the regular rate and then your child gets 50% off. Some will say, that's still too much. You should take insurance because people need to take insurance. Well, here's the truth again. I can't give you the care and support that you need to make these changes and take insurance. It's just not feasible. Insurance model is based off of quickly assess, quickly diagnose, and quickly hand a drug, and I'll see you next time. That is the model of insurance, not changing your life. And they may give you all these little programs that say they're health initiatives and they want you to be healthy. But they're not. It is what I'm telling you is when you're a clinician in the practice, that is how the insurance model is geared. And that's a whole nother soapbox for another time. Now, what we will do, even though we don't take insurance, we're going to give you the forms that you can submit to your insurance and try to collect out-of-network benefits. You might get some of that money back. But in reality, this is you investing in your health and in the health of your family. And by me cutting those insurances out of it, I can offer you the interventions that are truly needed. And in this case, it's not just your life, it's the life of your children and your children's down the road. And even if you decide down the road not to work with us, you're like, I can't do a cash pay clinic. Okay, even if you decide not to work with us, don't let the health trends of obesity and diabetes continue in this direction with your family. Make it end now. Make the stop with you. You make the hard changes so that your future generations don't have to continue to reap the negative impact of these epigenetic changes that are leading to obesity and diabetes and shortening the lifespan of our kids and us. Okay. Done with my soapbox. If you do want to work with us, you can look at our website at clearpathmedical.net. You can email us at contact@clearpathmedical.net. You can also call us at 615-441-4499. My staff would be more than happy to talk with you. To sum up again, it is still March for a little bit longer. We have that March special going on where you can try the MIC-B and the Vitality Booth for 50% off. So you get 4 MIC-B and 4 Vitality Booth sessions for $80. That's normally $160, but you have to purchase it before the end of March. You don't have to use them all in March, but you have to purchase them in the month of March. So if you want in on that, give us a call and we will get you hooked up with that and you can try it. Okay, guys, until next time, I hope you stay happy and healthy and safe and all those good things. And hopefully my little rant didn't discourage you, but might motivate you to make some positive changes. Bye now.